22 on the Madden Crank program. My cousin Adam calling in from New York City. Time for our legal segment. Adam Calvert, how are you? Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to you. Good Saturday.
Happy Memorial Day to you, too.
Got any big plans for Memorial Day? You coming down to town to go to the beach, get some French fries?
My girlfriend's mom they're having like a cookout and everything, and they're having crabs. And I really wish I was coming down because I can't remember the last time I had crabs. It must have been a couple of years now.
Wait, they're having a cookout and having crabs?
Yeah.
Yep.
Disagree with that strategy completely. Cookout.
How's that?
Cookout is hamburger, hot dogs, ribs. You can grill some squash if you want, barbecue chicken. Crabs don't.
Maryland, right, Matt?
Yeah, I'm from Maryland, and you know what? I'm telling you, I don't care. Yeah, every time.
How dare you?
Every time I don't say crabs, like, and you're from Maryland? Yeah, I'm allowed to be from Maryland and not like crabs. I don't know what this is. But besides which, I mean, it's not like I hate crabs. I'm just saying that a cookout, okay, if you want to have a crab feast or whatever, then go ahead and do that. But I'm saying a cookout, hamburger, hot dogs, ribs, chicken. That's what a cookout is.
I know, but
don't bring crabs to a cookout.
You know you can't fill up on crabs. So crabs is kind of like this, I don't know, it's like an extended appetizer. That's the way I always see a crab feast. And you know how expensive crabs are.
I think crabs is more of like a conversation sort of piece. It like gets you moving, gets you active.
That's what beer is for.
With people for a long time and drinking a lot of beer.
Yeah, that's what the beer already does.
That's the whole point.
No, first of all, you don't need appetizers at a barbecue.
Appetizers.
Second of all, you have the beer already to get the conversation started. Third of all, it's a barbecue. That's why they call it a barbecue. You can't when was the last time you barbecued crabs? I'm wholly against this.
Okay, well, this is just about the name then, so we just have to change the name.
No, just don't.
Okay, so I just have to see my girlfriend's mom is having a crab feast instead of saying she's having a barbecue. She
is having an outdoor crab dinner. And I'm fine with that.
Outdoor crab dinner.
That sounds fancy.
Well,
outdoor crab dinner.
An outdoor crab buffet or crab-a-thon. I don't know. Just I get offended when people talk about bringing crabs to a cookout. If I was having a cookout and someone bought crabs,
you're offended.
Yeah. If someone bought crabs to my cookout, they'd be gone. I'd say get out and bring your crabs with you. You're not welcome here. Sorry, I just got to put my foot down. Memorial Day isn't about crabs.
You know, actually,
I said it.
Traditionally, it's crabs and fried chicken. That's what you do. Just saying.
Not at a cookout. You don't.
He's like
at a crab dinner, outdoor crab dinner. You do.
Yeah, exactly. And Matt's sitting here like wringing his head back and forth like a black woman on Jerry Springer.
This is offensive to me and my sensibilities. That's all. That's all I'm saying. So cookout on Memorial Day. That's what I'll be working. But
Well, Adam, I'll be there, so you get to miss out. I'll eat some crabs for you.
All right, thank you.
And some barbecue chicken and some fried squash. But all right, we got to get into a serious subject here. I wasn't going to talk about this, but then I've heard three different things and three different terms, and hopefully you can explain all these. Not competent, unfit, and insane. And we're talking about Jared Loughner. Of course, we know who Jared Loughner is. Arizona shooting, Gabrielle Giffords, that 9-year-old girl was killed there. Loughner has entered the plea of not guilty, and you and I were talking off the air, and that's going to be for reasons of insanity. The Justice Department, after his big outburst this past week in the courthouse, said that Loughner will almost certainly be declared mentally unfit for trial. The issues of Loughner's competence to stand trial is separate as a legal matter from any effort he or his defense attorneys may make to argue that he was insane at the time of the shooting on January 8th at the Safeway parking lot. So what is the difference here between not competent, unfit, and insane?
Okay, well, not competent and unfit are sort of the same thing. So we'll group those two together, and then insane is a separate one. So what they just determined was whether he was competent to stand trial. And so what we're going to ask there is whether he has some sort of mental disease that makes it unable for him to understand the nature of the proceedings or help in his own defense. And so evaluations done by doctors and reported to the court where this guy is mistrusting of his attorneys, irrationally mistrusting of his attorneys, and that he suffers from delusions. So he basically is a detriment to himself in assisting in helping his own attorneys prepare his defense, and so therefore they find that he's incompetent to stand trial. Now, that's separate from insanity. Insanity asked about what his condition was at the time of the shooting, and we can get into talking about that in a minute. But I guess first, maybe we should talk about what it means when you find that somebody's incompetent to stand trial.
Well, I mean, I think here's the problem with this. I've always said, of course, anybody who would commit a crime this egregious, they're insane in some way, but that doesn't mean that they're not competent and they don't know what they're doing. And I think somebody like Jared Loughner, they fully know what they're doing. They know the difference between right and wrong. And the reason I think I can make this statement is because he knows how to get under people's skin. In that courtroom the other day, he was just saying a-hole-ish things. He was just saying, I watched her die in front of me, and he was just doing things to rile up the crowd. And I don't think, if you were just insane, you would just say insane things. But I feel like he knows exactly how to needle these people in order to get the... What is going on? Do you hear that?
Hey, Trevor. That's our producer again. Trevor, can you cut it out, man? Our producer's like our producer is an a-hole. We have this producer. He does everything for us. And he makes this, he gets all excited. He starts stomping in the other room. Trevor, cut it out.
I'm seriously going to go in there fist of flying here in a minute.
Well, we can't fire Trevor. We need him.
Shut up. Anyway, so my whole point is that he knows the difference between right and wrong, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to get under his skin the way that he does by saying the things that he says, because he knows that the wrong thing to say, and that's why he's getting the rise out of him. So explain all that.
Exactly. And what you just brought up was insanity. Whether he knew the difference between right and wrong when he did the shooting.
Right.
But that's not a competency to stand trial. Competency asks whether or not he understands the proceedings against him, whether or not he can help in his own defense. And the thing is, he's schizophrenic. He has an irrational mistrust of the lawyers to the point where he can't help his own defense. So what they're going to do is they'll commit him to a facility for 4 months, or up to 4 months, and give him medication and make him able to assist in his own defense. And then he can stand trial, at which point he'll raise the defense of insanity, and that'll look at what his condition was like at the time of the shooting, and that's whether or not he was able to know the difference between right and wrong when he did the shooting.
Well, what about this idea? Because to me, the one thing I don't understand about this whole, insanity, competency, whatever, I guess there's some medical stuff behind it, and none of us are psychologists, so it's hard. None of us can really diagnose the guy right now. We don't know. But my whole point with this is that when it comes, because either way, the guy's going to eventually stand trial. He's eventually going to be incarcerated. Obviously, it's not like they're going to let him go. But it really, this is going to come down to the sentencing thing in the long run. Does he get the death penalty? And the way that people a lot of times escape the death penalty, from what I've seen, obviously, is that if they plead insanity and they say that they're insane, therefore they were incompetent, therefore it would be inhumane to execute them. But what I don't get is, if someone shouldn't it be like the last thing you want is to be seen as incompetent? Because if you're insane or incompetent, that means that you are forever a danger to society and everyone around you. It means that you can't stop yourself from killing people. At least if you made a conscious decision to kill someone, you can theoretically be rehabilitated and change your ways and have a change of heart and a change of soul. But if you're incompetent, it means that you just one day will black out and kill people, which means you're forever a burden on society, which means you're forever a danger to everyone around you, which means that for the sake of society, you should be executed even more than the person who's saying it. What I'm saying is that really, people get out of the death penalty and out of tougher sentences because they say they're crazy. I'm saying, let's assume for a minute they are crazy. For that reason, the sentence should be tougher for the sake of protecting society. I rest my case, sir.
Well, here's the thing: if they're so crazy that they can't help it, it's almost as bad for us as a society to kill that person rather than commit them for the rest of their lives, because we basically said, if this person can't help themselves. Not that they can't help themselves, is that they're so insane and so imbalanced that they don't know the difference between right and wrong. So what? I mean, if we go out and just kill that person because of that, I mean, that person couldn't, he couldn't help it.
Yeah, except that what I'm saying. But hold on, but
do they become like a lifelong mental study? I mean, you know what I mean? You'd lock them in a padded room, and then what? We just have scientists in there, like psychologists, and they just study their brain for the rest of their lives. I mean, isn't that almost less human than taking them out for not being allowed?
Plus, capital punishment is not strictly punitive. It's not strictly. I know we call it punishment, but really it's an execution, and it's not strictly that we're doing it because you've been a bad boy. We're doing it because some people have demonstrated that they cannot be a part of society, that they've either chosen, or that they, through their own choices or through whatever, they simply cannot be a part of society, so society has no reason but to remove them. To me, that's the most humane way of treating capital punishment. If capital punishment is simply just you deserve it, and this is just vengeance and revenge, then all capital punishment is wrong, because we don't have that authority. But we do have authority as a society to say this person is an undue burden on society to keep them around, and especially if they're insane. So they're nothing but just a killing machine. They're not even human anymore. I mean, we have to get rid of them. It's not fair to society and to everyone around them to keep them around. So, I mean,
here's the thing, but your only concern is the safety of society. Well, locking them up for the rest of their lives in a mental institution is going to do the same thing as killing them.
It's an undue burden, though. But it's an undue burden because, number one, they're still going to be they would be a danger to everyone around them in the prison. They're a danger to the prison guards. And so the only thing you have to do then is put them in solitary confinement. You know, I'm sure you know, Adam, how expensive it is to keep someone in solitary confinement and protective custody for their entire life, especially Jared Loughner and guys in his 20s. We're going to keep them there for 70 years. I mean, it's an undue burden on society. And then now we have to pay exorbitant amounts of money to keep this insane homicidal maniac alive in his tin can. It's illogical and absurd.
It's not justice, I guess, is the point, that this guy will get to just live out the rest of his natural life because for what reason? I mean, because he went out and he shot a bunch of people in a parking lot. This doesn't seem very just, but we're kind of, opining here, but you also mentioned something last night to me on the phone about how he doesn't necessarily have to go to trial in order for him to actually be put in prison. Can you explain that?
Well, sure. If they can't rehabilitate him with drugs to find that he's competent to stand trial, he can be committed for the rest of his life. And they will periodically reevaluate whether or not he's going to be able to get the competency to stand trial. Now, the government here is pretty confident that he will be able to be competent to stand trial after they medicate him and treat him for a little while. But if they couldn't get him back to competency, then he could be committed for the rest of his life.
All right.
Without ever going through a trial.
Well, Adam Calvert, we'll have to wrap it up there. Fun topic for a Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
It's such a lighthearted start with the outdoor crab dinner talk, and then
I know.
get into this.
I know. All right, man. Well, have a wonderful weekend. Mr.
Thanks.
Communist
You too,
Barbecue.
guys.
All right, man.
All right,
See you.
take care.
See you later.
And I also don't, I'm sorry, I know we got to go, but I also don't think it's fair, too, because it's almost like once you medicate him and you get him into the courtroom as a different person, it's almost like you've got a different person on trial. You're not even trying the same person that was out there in the parking lot that day, and I don't know if that's fair to the families or even the society.
Yeah. It doesn't. To me, his motivations don't matter. He's a guy that does stuff like that. I don't care why he does it. He does it. Get rid of him.